Hi everyone. So today we are going to talk about control. Now, control is a very often used word. Many times people ask us to control our mind, control our thoughts, control our anger, and the like. And I can speak for myself, and I'm sure there are many of us like there. I don't really like the word control because when someone uses that words, it usually has a very negative connotation for me because why I'll tell you if it resonates with you. The reason is that whenever something is said to us, whether it's coming from within us or someone tells us, when someone tells us, it's usually even worse. Anyway, so when we hear something, instead of going to our conscious first, how we react, our internal reaction at least, how we respond is a different thing, but how we react initially is through the subconscious. And our subconscious is complex. Our subconscious is very juvenile. Our subconscious is very childlike because it is made up of a lot of, it's made up of a lot of memories from childhood, some happy, some not so happy, some joyous, some sad. So, and just imagine when you use the word control for a kid, how do you think their reaction would be? They would definitely not like it. And that's what happens with us. We don't like it when the word control is used for us because what it leads to, what it feels like is we are putting a lid on something, we are suppressing something, and then what usually happens with that is it feels like we are restricting the flow of natural thing, and it had some potential which we which we have suppressed, and that's not a good feeling. For example, anger. We are told to control our anger, but then we have to realize that anger is an energy. It has a lot of potential, and if we use that correctly, it can lead to a lot of good things too. So next time you hear the word control, but you know what, we have to make friendship with the word control. Why? Because control is essential to ascend to a higher plane, or for betterment of our life, or to kind of listen to what our conscious is saying, and basically wherever our conscious wants to lead us, where our higher self wants to lead us, you need a lot of control to get into that. So control cannot be a bad word. Now, how do you make friendship with control? So what you do is, whenever someone or you yourself, it comes from within, use the word control for you, think about it. You do a mindset shift. What you think is, you think that it is not suppressing you or not putting a lid on it. Rather, it's like it says you are in control now. So you are in the driver's seat now. You have the steering wheel, and you are steering your life or your emotions to wherever you want to. It's not like, so first you have to separate yourself from the emotion, separate yourself from the control. So the control is for the emotions. The control is not for you personally. You don't have to control yourself. You have to control your emotions, which are distinct from your real self, from your conscious self, from your higher self. So this is the first thing. So once you get a feeling of, you are in the saddle and you are the one who needs to do some action, which is separate from your emotions driving you. So you take the emotion away from the driving seat and use it in that, basically. And that gives a good feeling, right? Okay. Another thing is, now once you're there, what do you do with your emotions? Because emotions are an energy. For example, when you have anger, which just bursts, that's a lot of potential energy. Now, how do you let out that energy? You cannot control it and suppress it in the sense of suppressing it, because when you suppress it, it sometimes blows up with a much higher magnitude than what you intended, and this is not something that we want. So what we do is, instead of letting it blow up, we are going to let it flow. Let it flow gently and naturally. So the first step is, of course, to be conscious, to get conscious that, yeah, you're getting mad. And that comes with mindfulness. That's a topic for another day. But once you realize that this is the energy you have, well, you have a lot of energy. Emotions have a lot of energy. Then, instead of controlling it, think like you are channelizing it, you're redirecting it. And once you channelize energy to a good cause, it will bring you bliss instead of, that feeling of suppression and frustration. For example, many artists have created masterpieces by channelizing their frustrations with life or disappointment with the world in general, or if they were angry about something, and they have created masterpieces which is good for their soul, which is good for the soul, and which for the world at large. So you can do well. Maybe you do not go and create a masterpiece like that, but maybe you can channelize it into, um, let's say you do some chores, or maybe you kind of journal, you write down, or maybe you even talk to yourself, because when you talk to yourself you get a bird's eye view of what is bothering you, and then that really helps you gain a perspective which you do not get in the heat of the moment. And of course, take time later on to go and talk to the other person, whoever has made you angry, or journal yourself or thing like that. You can channelize it, so you can channelize it like that. Or even another thing is, you can kind of uh, if you have to channelize it some other way, another thing is that you can channelize it as humor. Use it to sharpen your skills, like skill of humor. So for example, sometimes when I get mad and I feel like someone is saying something which is like too far removed from reality, I jump on the bandwagon, and I kind of take it, stretch it a little, add a little humor, and then it just creates a light of that situation. And I have honed my skill of how to carry myself in tricky circumstances. That's a mind exercise. I'll tell you, that's a mind exercise. Thinking positive and getting funny situations out of really scary situations, out of really tense moments. That's a kind of skill you need. We all need. So these are the things you can do with anger. So basically, now that whenever you hear the word control, think you are in control. And next thing is, control is another word for channeling. You are in control and you drive it. And where do you drive it? You channel it to where you want to go. You drive it. You drive the emotions, because emotions are energy. And at the end of the day, the quality of the life we live is dependent on how we manage our energy. Is our energy taking us to where our higher self wants us to be? So when you hear the word control next, think of it as channelizing instead of control.